I'm going to show you how you can become insanely good at drawing in 3 months. I'll be telling you what you should do and of course what you shouldn't do. I'll also tell you the materials you need to have when drawing. And if you stay tuned till the end of the video, I'll be telling you the exact materials I used to turn my drawings from noob to pro in a few months. Basically, this is a step-by-step game plan that anybody can follow to improve their skills. We'll talk about the why, the what, the how, and then the final game plan. Trust me, this is the guide you need to become a complete pro at drawing. But first, why do you want to become good at drawing? Yes, why are you even doing this? Why are you going to spend hours upon hours trying to improve in your skills even though the result might be subpar or not up to expectations? You need to find your why for drawing, why you will be putting in hours of work into practicing. If you don't find out your why, when things get tough, because trust me, they will get tough, and when they do, you'll give up. The pain of disappointment will be so great that you will forget why you even started in the first place. But when you have a reason, a why, it will be like a North Star. It doesn't matter the wind of disappointment or discouragement that comes, you will not be shaken. Is your reason for drawing because you love it? Is the process of creating art just fascinating to you? Or perhaps there's something stronger, like maybe you want to sell your art so you can actually take care of your family. These are reasons. But if you are drawing for financial reasons, then you have to try and find a style of drawing that you at least love and have a passion for, because nobody wants to be stuck doing something that they hate, even if it's for money. Imagine choosing hyperrealism because you saw this guy sell his drawing to Kevin Hart, when in reality you actually love drawing comics. So you find your why. But finding your why is only the beginning. You don't want to be a soldier that will go into battles without weapons. So you are going to have to choose your weapons, to choose your drawing tools. But allow me to let you in on a little secret. You see, when you are picking your drawing tools, you don't have to go for the most expensive materials. Rather, you want to go for the most efficient. In some cases, the most expensive might be the most efficient, but in most cases, that is not the case. Most of the times, you can get really efficient tools for cheap. Start by choosing the medium you are going to work with. Since my channel focuses on realistic drawings with charcoal and graphite, I'll be sharing with you the list of tools for that art style. You will need a thick paper. The thicker, the better. And while that's not always the case, it is a good rule to follow. These are the papers that I have used so far. Next, you are going to choose your pencils. If you've got money to spare, you can buy Faber-Castell or Derwent. But if you don't really have, you can just get a no-name brand. You'll be fine, really. I've been using these pencils that were given to me by one of my aunties as a gift, and I've been chilling ever since. What is important though is the grade level. You see, rather than go to the market and ordering a full set of pencils, ask them to sell it to you individually. Ask for a HB, 2B, 4B, 6B and a 8B, and that is it. That is really all you need. As for eraser, you can just get a normal stick eraser, but having a kneaded eraser too can also help. You will need tissue to blend your shadings, a ruler to measure out the paper, and a blade or knife to sharpen your pencils. If you're like me and you don't just want to go for realism but take it up and go for hyper-realism, then you are going to need to add charcoal pencil to the mix. You need to get hard, medium and soft, or you can choose another method by going 2B, 4B and 6B. Also, after you get these charcoal pencils, you can also add some charcoal blocks or charcoal sticks to the mix. This will really help when you are drawing some dark backgrounds. You will also need Tombow Mono Zero eraser since you will be drawing hyperrealism, which will require little details. Electric eraser too can also make those little details pop. Then you will need makeup brushes or at least some kind of brush for blending your powder shading. Now you can draw on the table or you can draw on an easel. Basically, you will have to choose the one that suits you. But for me, I draw on the table because my drawings are quite small. But if I have to draw a very big drawing, I'll have to use an easel. Also, take note that you don't need to get all these tools at once. I got all these tools over a 9-year drawing period. So you'll have to get them little by little according to what you need for a drawing project. So this list that I gave you is like the best case scenario. If you have the money, you can actually get all of this. But if you don't, get the bare minimum, what you need. So we have our tools. We are armed to the teeth. But what use our weapons without a plan of attack, without a strategy? Before we get on with the next step, I want to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Milanote. You see, Milanote is for people like us, creatives, so we can organize our ideas in a visual manner. You can use Milanote for many creative projects, but one thing I love to use it for is to plan a new drawing project. Like take for example my recent drawing, Despair. Before I started on the drawing, I had an idea on the feelings I wanted the portrait to evoke and how large it would be. With Milanote, I created a notes board to jot down any ideas I had for the portrait before I started the drawing. I also made a mood board to compile any portraits that can serve as inspiration for the mood of the portrait. Additionally, I created a background board where I gathered ideas for the background of the portrait. Doing all of these ahead of time helps so that when I am taking a photograph of the model or finding a reference photo, I know exactly what I want. Milanote also has pre-made templates for any creative projects such as photography, filmmaking, writing, interior design, and more. All you have to do is replace the images with your images. You can get started and use Milanote for free. Sign up with the link in the description below. If you know neither yourself nor the enemy, you will succumb in every battle. By the book, The Art of War. To know yourself means to know your strengths and your weaknesses. So, what are your weaknesses in art? And what are your strengths? Now, leave the strengths. You are already good at that. Focus on the weaknesses. Let's say, for example, you are good at drawing facial proportions, but you can't shade. So your weakness is shading. This is what you will do to battle that weakness. First, you learn. You see, knowledge is abundant on the internet. You just have to make time to learn. So set aside time. It can be evening, it can be morning, whatever works for you. And as you learn and watch these drawing tutorials, don't just watch for entertainment or for inspiration. I do that all the time, and I know many do when they watch my videos. Nothing bad with that, but there is a time for everything. This is a time to learn. You can watch for entertainment or inspiration at another time. And as you watch, you want to take down notes. What is this person doing differently from me? How does he hold his pencil? How can I apply his techniques in my drawing? You see, winning battles starts from the mind, and we are enriching our mind by taking in knowledge. But what do we do with this knowledge? We act on it. We practice. Don't fall for the trap of feeling that you are drawing because you are watching drawing tutorials. It will happen. You will feel that way. You can't escape it. But the key is to identify when you are feeling that way, control yourself, pick up the pencil and actually draw something. Set a time to draw every single day for 1 hour. It can be less, it all depends on your schedule, but make sure that you are drawing every single day. Now, as you draw every day, start to apply what you learned by watching those drawing tutorials. Trust me, it won't be easy. Just because you have watched somebody do something doesn't mean that you can actually do it. Because your brain might know what to do, but you have to wait for your hands to catch up. Sometimes that drawing method that you watched may not work for you. You will need to tweak it a little to see results. But if you kept on watching tutorials without actually acting on them, you wouldn't have found out that you only needed to tweak the technique a little. And this is why someone who practices for 3 months without learning will fare better than someone who learns for 3 months without practicing. And someone who does both will rule the world. So, practice does not make perfect. Rather, perfect practice makes perfect. Practicing the right things. Practicing the right things you learned by watching tutorials. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. It's cliche, but we both know how true that is. If you want to become truly insanely good at art in the next 3 months, you need to plan how your next 3 months are going to be. You are going to set a schedule. This schedule is going to be according to your circumstances and according to the time you have. Because I strongly believe that no matter how busy you are, you can still manage to squeeze time for art. But the question is art important enough for you to want to squeeze time for it? When I was in school, my schedule was packed, but I still found time for drawing. This was how my schedule looked like. I had to be in school from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. But what about the time before 8 a.m. or the time after 4 p.m.? I filled it up with drawing. Also, when I was working and I was choked from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., I did the same thing. Whatever time I can find before or after work, I filled it with drawing time. So block out the things that are non-negotiable. Work, travel, family time, these are things you must do and have to do. But are there things that you don't have to do? Like for example, watching TV, scrolling on social media. These are things that you can erase to make time for drawing. So if you have a busy schedule, you just have to look, is there any free time before, in the middle, or after what you are doing? If yes, then fill it with drawing time. Most people don't like the restrictions of following a schedule, but you have to be disciplined if you want this to work. Now, do you feel motivated? Do you feel this rush of excitement because you now feel like you can actually do this? Well, don't just feel motivated. Take action. Start by checking out the video that shows up on the screen now. You'll be able to learn the drawing techniques to improve your art and actually start perfect practice. Start practicing the right way. Watch that. Yes, that. And I'll see you in the next one.